This is Arthur Putman, whistleblower from Florida, live from the BWI airport. I just got here, I had a really rough week. I'm still banned up in Capitol Hill. Now, mind you, I've been in Washington, D.C. for 8 months. I came up here for due process and to be clear, a whistleblower. But in order for me to be cleared a whistleblower, at this particular time, because let me give you a brief synopsis of this encounter, my fight with the 1%ers, or better yet, the dirty, filthy, rotten, corrupt 1%ers is Jews. They declared, you understand, war against me, Arthur Putman. I encountered a very crooked Jewish contractor that breached our contract. Then I encountered my first Jewish shyster, and I had dealings with another Jewish attorney that I thought was, about the Constitution. But when I took the case to him about the first Jewish attorney, he was charged up. His name is Charles Simon. He was an expert in landlord-tenant, eviction. He made Broward County rewrite their whole program or policy of landlord-tenant, law. Anyway, I went to him, retained him, but my name was not on none of the paperwork. It was my long-life friend, Mary Hurd. She had just retired from Joe DiMaggio Hospital after 42 years of service. So we decided not to renew the lease and just part as friends. But through a arbitration and a court order, we did not owe him anything. And when I'm speaking of him, I'm speaking of the complex that he represents. We do not owe them nothing, and they don't owe us nothing. So we was entitled to the demand, return of the deposit, security deposit, that they had been holding for the last 15 years, that she had stayed in that same apartment. Anyway, after I demanded, errors in the mission policy and piercing the corporate veil, they took it to their rabbi, and he decided that, I wasn't important enough to stand in their way. But they forgot that, the winning team that I'm on, I believe in God. Yes, God. It ain't no ambiguous, God. All that is fuckery was put in play, as optics by the demonic world. Listen, I done been through all this nonsense. You know, I was a soldier for the demon for 61 years until I had a massive stroke, July the 17th of 2014. The whole left side of my body was dead. The blood clot in the left side of my brain. My left eye was dead, couldn't see out of it. Everything down, paralysis. My mouth was twisted around here. I talk like, "Arr." Listen, God pushed me out of the wheelchair. That's why I know it's a God. I don't fear no demon. Anyway, I was barred off in Capitol Hill by the Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, Senator Charles Grassley. After he had sent his goons to me, you understand, I guess, you know, supposed to intimidate me by telling me that no black man has ever been declared a whistleblower. And see, my set of circumstances is entirely different because I've been fighting the one percenters since 2010 when they took my house in Plantation, Florida, 1521 Southwest 41st Avenue, Plantation, Florida, 33317. Yeah, we live on this right here. Just go to YouTube. That's what we're doing. If you're trying to track me, that's the only way you're going to follow me. Amateurs. Yes, you know, that's another thing. Since I done been here, up in the Washington, D.C. area, they must be desperate because I done filed 4 civil lawsuits naming about 30 people on Capitol Hill, about 4 senators, the whole Senate Judiciary Committee, about 6 congressmen, all of them from the state of Florida. And instead of having my documents receipted, and I had 8 documents generated by the Attorney General's Office of the state of Florida, Colonel James Mann. It's an 8-page memorandum that clearly states constitutional challenges on the criminal level is in order. In fact, the documents is public record. If you view the documents, so did Senator Bill Nelson, well, ex-Senator Bill Nelson. I took him to his office when I first got up on the Hill back in April of last year. After making so many trips to his office, talking to his general counsel, talking to his chief of staff, everybody but ex-Senator Bill Nelson, you'll see now that the midterm election, well, the governor and the senator election, it was a fraud. Senator Rick Scott bought the whole shenanigan. He even bought, you understand, Bill Nelson's seat. The Democrats is spineless. Now they done got control of the House, which is just optics. Because them corrupt, fat, super thieves, they call themselves politicians, have stole and stole and stole. Ain't nothing left to steal now. That's why the government shut down. Our president talking about building a Mexican wall. After Mexicans say we ain't paying none of that nonsense. Now he gonna keep the government shut down for I think he said $6 billion wall. Fuckery, again, out of the White House. Washington, listen here. This country in really trouble, really bad trouble. I'm getting ready to put a case law together right now to show you ain't no such thing as separation of church and state. Pope Francis, look at Archbishop Worrell, the Archbishop of Washington. Look where he at. I think he in a prison cell somewhere or in a jail cell. I know Cardinal Worrell is not the Archbishop of Washington any longer. Now we're going to go to the apostolic nunciature of United States of America. That's the liaison from the Vatican to United States in the form of Archbishop Christian Pierre. The reason why Trump, you understand, issues is so magnified is really simple. By the time he got to Washington, it wasn't nothing else left to steal. But anyway, I filed a restraining order and a temporary injunction in the district court of the District of Columbia back on December the 10th last year, requesting an emergency hearing I filed under the First Amendment and the Fifth Amendment. The First Amendment, freedom of speech and separation of church and state. The Fifth Amendment, due process. That's why I'm in Washington, sleeping on the street for due process. And in order for me to get due process, I gotta be declared a whistleblower. A whistleblower to a fraud that's still active in the tune of $79.6 billion that this newly elected senator, then governor, committed against the seniors of this great state of Florida through their Medicaid program, along with my health care provider, Sunshine Health. which, by the way, it was 7 active HIPAA violations against my healthcare provider because there was a fraud in the first place. They had 24 PCPs, primary care providers, and not one specialty doctor on the whole network. So instead of the Inspector General investigating the fraud that was going on, they investigated me. I'm the only man in America that have 3 Social Security numbers. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Social Security numbers. That's where the bullshit came from. I've been persecuted by the way of investigation for the last 4.5 years. By the way, the contract on the Medicaid fraud don't expire until July the 1st of this year. The clerk office have a mandate for when a pro se litigant or a lawyer, especially a lawyer, requests an emergency hearing with constitutional questions at the maximum. The judge has 10 days to execute that petition. I filed mine under the First and the Fifth Amendment. Freedom of speech and separation of church and state. And due process. That's the Fifth Amendment. Due process. Listen, since I can't be discredited, now I gotta be crazy. Listen, the only thing crazy about me is that it took me so long to wake up and to see that the devil has many tools, but a lie is the handle that fits them all. I'm 65 years old, and ever since I was born, I was told that the devil is a liar. That's so true. I believe in God. 10th of December, 13th of January. The clerk office done started switching my paperwork. And the judge done started citing misplaced cases. Not ruling on the merits of the petitions that was in front of him. He focused on the diagram, the frame, the form that the petition was written in, which I followed the same flow mat as Mr. Jim Acosta did from CNN. And in fact, he filed the same too. constitutional challenges that I filed. First Amendment, Fifth Amendment, due process. One percenters, Senate Judiciary, Catholic Church, via public amateur, St. Gregory the Great in Plantation, Florida, Father Hoyer, pastor, St. Joseph on Capitol Hill, Pastor Gunny, Archbishop Christian Pierre, Monsignor Walter, Chief of the U.S. Capitol Police, resign or you will be prosecuted. All of y'all has committed constructive fraud. Even a terrorist is allowed due process. My heritage is North American Indian. Why I'm not denied, why I'm denied due process. I'm going home, but I'll be back. And I'm closing the door this time. The whole judiciary is a fraud, starting with the committee. They've been breached and compromised and bought and sold so many times. Look at the last Supreme Court Justice, Shabako. The reason why, it's taking so long for me to get due process in the restraining order and the temporary injunction is because I forced the court to acknowledge that I'm indigent and waive the $400 fee. Right now, it's 33 days and it's still counting. Arthur Putman, whistleblower. The end is coming soon. Happy New Year, everybody. I wish you and your family the very best of the new year. But you better believe in God. If you don't, y'all there. I'm a soldier for God. But before I go, God say, you do not hurt, use, or abuse the kids. The kids are innocent. Courtney Bradley, I love you. That's my best friend. We got a pinky promise. God bless. Have a blessed weekend. I'm out.